Hi guys, what's up? How are you? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a no foundation routine. So this is my current no foundation routine. I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I achieve a better looking base with some coverage without using any foundation. And I've really been into this look lately just because I think it's a lot less maintenance than wearing foundation. And you don't need perfect skin to skip out on foundation. I'm gonna be sharing a lot of tips and tricks on how to conceal different parts of the face and just achieve a more evened out complexion without using foundation. So before we get into it, please make sure that you guys subscribe to my channel so you can stay updated whenever I upload new videos. And then also make sure that you guys come follow me on Instagram because you will always find me on Instagram whenever I'm not on my channel. And now we can get into the tutorial. One of the most important things is always applying skincare and moisturizing your skin before you put makeup on. That is one of the biggest, if not most important step of makeup application. You want to make sure that the base is properly prepped. So I'm going to start off with two of my favorite skincare products. So I like the Kate Somerville Wrinkle Warrior. This is a hyaluronic acid serum which really shoots moisture into the skin, and I like to concentrate it on any parts of the face where I get extra dry. So like around my mouth, my chin, and then my forehead as well. And I just kind of really massage this into my skin so that the hyaluronic acid really gets pushed in there. Also pat this under the eyes, and that's really gonna help with any dryness that you get around your eyes. And I'm going to always, before I do any type of face makeup, I apply a moisturizer. Today I'm using the Kate Somerville Dry Skin Saver. I just bought this and I want to try it, so that's what it is. It just came in the mail. So I'm just gonna dot this all over my face, and I'm really gonna massage the moisturizer in. If you try to put makeup on top of skin that's dried out, it's not gonna look good. It's gonna get all cracky, it's gonna look chalky, it's gonna settle into all the dry patches, all the lines on your face, and the makeup's just not gonna look good. I've waited about 5 minutes for my moisturizer to fully absorb into the skin, and you'll know when it's fully absorbed because your skin won't feel tacky to the touch anymore. It will feel hydrated and supple, but you won't feel product sitting on top of the skin. Now, one of the tips that I actually saw on Mariah Leonard's video on how to do a no foundation base routine was always using a primer, and I think that is a really big helpful step because it does give the makeup that you put on top of the skin a little bit of extra grip. So one of my favorites is the Combo Control. This is the Milky Face Primer from Bare Minerals. This one is nice because it's super lightweight. As you guys can see, it's very runny and fluid, so it doesn't feel heavy or sticky on the face. So I just apply this all over the skin, and it does set to a little bit more of a soft satin finish. If you're extra oily anywhere, like your nose, you can always just kind of push a little bit of extra primer onto the nose and push the primer like into the parts of the skin that are a little bit more prone to oil. That way you're not just rubbing it on top of those areas, you're really getting the product into the skin and helping it stay there. Again, with primer, just like moisturizer, you do want to give it a couple moments just to fully absorb into the skin. Don't go in with product right afterward because it does need a couple seconds to just set and get situated before you start applying things on top of it. So one of the other things that I think can really help even out your skin tone, give you a little bit of a glow, and just kind of give your skin a really gorgeous soft filter is to apply an illuminator all over your skin. It doesn't have to be tinted. It can just be like a pure pearlescence. So something in the lines of Charlotte Tilbury's Wonder Glow or even the Visible Lift from L'Oreal. Something like this is just gonna really give you a nice soft filter glow. So I'm actually gonna be using the Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow today. You don't have to be shy with the Wonder Glow. It's not metallic. It really is just kind of a soft focus glow that isn't too glittery. So you just apply this all over the skin, everywhere. The reason Wonder Glow is so nice is because it's not too crazy of a pearlescence or illumination. It's really soft, really subtle, and it's not going to make you look glittery in the sunlight. Double checking that it's all pressed and worked into the skin. Now, navigating concealer without foundation can be a little bit trickier. I would suggest that you have two different types. So one that's a little bit more milky and lighter in coverage, that's just gonna give you a little bit of a veil. So YSL Touche Eclat is one of my favorites. And then one that has a little bit more coverage that you can use for concealing hyperpigmentation, pimples, stuff like that. So mine that I pulled out are the Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer and then the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Both of these are really long wearing and have a lot of coverage, so they're good for putting on top of pimples or any other really pesky parts on the face. So just to kind of brighten up my under eyes, I'm going to be using the YSL Touche Eclat. I'm going to be mixing the shades 2 and 5 just to create a custom perfect shade for myself. Just using my finger, I'm going to dot this right under the eye. And I'm also going to take it right in this area because I do have some shadow there. And I want to make sure I kind of conceal that. I'm not really trying to make the under eye look super covered. I just want to hide a little bit of the darkness. But when you're doing no foundation, if you put too much under the eye and then you don't have anything else on the base, this is gonna look really artificial compared to the real skin. So you're just trying to really get that nice light veil of coverage without, you know, disrupting the way the skin looks. You wanna push it into your skin's natural texture. You wanna really shear it out so that it mimics the texture of your own natural skin, and you're not trying to do too much hiding. Now I'm gonna be concealing hyperpigmentation and blemishes. I'm gonna be using the Jouer Essential High Coverage Concealer. I'm using the shade Creme Brulee, and again, I'm just gonna apply it to the back of my hand so I can really work with the product using my fingers. So just picking up tiny amounts of product. I'm first going to conceal this pimple because it's really red. It might not look super red on camera, but it's very red in person. And I'm not trying to completely hide the pimple because I think that will just make it look worse and it will look like you're wearing makeup. So you just want to like lightly cover the pimple, hiding some of the redness, but it's not necessarily about completely, you know, masking the pimple away. I also like to conceal the corners of my nose. That's where I tend to get a lot of redness. And I'm really just, you know, pushing this into the skin so that it looks as natural as possible. I get a lot of hyperpigmentation around my mouth, and sometimes I just don't like that darkness right there, so I'm just kind of dotting over this hyperpigmentation. That was an eczema breakout the other day, and so there's kind of like these weird patch mark hyperpigmentations. So I'm just kind of covering those up. Any part of the skin that is a blemish or hyperpigmentation, anything that's like actively on the skin that you want to hide, that is where you're going to want to put the high coverage concealer. Anything that is, you know, darker or just needs a little bit of brightening, like your under eyes, or maybe you have just a slight darkness on certain parts of the face, that's where you're going to be using that lighter coverage concealer. Just because if you don't need the extra coverage, don't put it there. You can just kind of customize where you need the coverage, bouncing back and forth between the two concealers and really just concentrating on different spots of the face rather than concentrating on covering the face as a whole. To set the skin and give it just a little bit extra coverage to really just perfect the base a little bit more, I would suggest Bare Minerals Original. Now this is considered a mineral foundation. However, you don't get the foundation effect unless you really buff and work it into the skin. If you just kind of press it onto the skin, you don't get much coverage at all. But it is one of my favorite ways to set the skin when I'm not wearing foundation. So you just tap a little into the lid, not much, and you're gonna swirl it on a big fluffy brush. I'm using one from Hourglass, and I'm just going to literally press this all over the skin. If you wanted to get a little bit more coverage from the powder, you'd want to use a brush that's really dense and you would actually sit here and really buff this into the skin, and you'd see the coverage build. To bronze the skin, I'm gonna be using the Too Faced Melting Powder Bronzer. Now, I've talked about this one before on my channel. I really like this because you get the best of both worlds of a bronzer that applies like a powder, but finishes like a cream powder. So it's very easy, very user-friendly. I'm gonna be using this awesome brush from Revlon. It's really super dense and perfect for using a product like this. So I just kind of really swirl it into the product, make sure I'm getting a good amount on every bristle of this brush. And I'm just going to lightly bronze the skin. This bronzer is not too dark, it's just like right in the middle. This brush makes it really easy, so I would definitely suggest using something a little bit on the bigger side because it's just gonna help you apply the product in a more natural, diffused way. This is also where putting those primers down help, because then the products that you put on the face have something to grip to rather than just trying to grip to skin. The primer just helps it get a little bit more staying power. Blush is up to your own discretion, but I would really recommend the Milani Baked blushes. I just think that, especially when you're not wearing foundation, these just give your skin such a gorgeous glossy glow. I love the shade Luminoso, and I'm just going to lightly apply this to the apples of the cheeks. You'll see that the gold reflect really reflects back light and just gives you such a nice angelic sheen. I'm gonna brush just a little bit on the eyelids to kind of pull the look together, just so there's some uniform tones in the face. For highlight, you can either use powder or cream. I'm a little bit more partial to highlight that's a cream base when you're not wearing foundation, just because I feel like it just molds with the skin and looks so beautiful and natural. So I'm gonna be mixing two. This is like my current duo that I really like together. So Glossier's Halo Scope in Quartz with Revlon's Instafix Highlight in Gold Light. I just do this mixology on the back of my hand. There's the Revlon one. Put it all back there. And then right over top, I will take Quartz. I'll just pick that up with my fingers and really press it into the skin. You can apply it to all the high points of the face and it blends out so beautifully. I'm gonna put it like right under that brow bone, so I get a little bit of light reflection right there. I'm gonna take it just above the arch of the brow as well. That kind of opens up the face and just gives you a little bit of extra glisten. Take it down the bridge of my nose. I just like to highlight my entire upper lip. It just looks so cute. I'm gonna press this into the chin. And then I'm also gonna take just a little bit on the inner corner of the eye. So we finished the base, and when you are not wearing foundation, it is absolutely crucial that you set the face with some sort of long-lasting setting spray, because if you think about it, when you're wearing foundation, that's just added insurance for your blush, your bronzer, and your highlight. But when you don't have foundation on, all this makeup is really only sticking to the primer and your skin. So you want to make sure that you sandwich it in and give it as much longevity as you possibly can. So some type of long wear setting spray. I really love the one from Lancome. It's been my favorite recently. So I'm gonna do 2 layers of setting spray. So just one, fully coating the face in setting spray. I'm gonna wait a full minute or 2 for this to dry, and then I'm gonna do one more to really seal it in. So now that it's dry, I'm gonna do one more layer of setting spray. Super important. And then I'm going to just finish off the face. I'm gonna throw on some mascara and a lip, and then I'll be back and talk to you. Okay, so to finish off the face, I threw a little bit of lip on. I'm using the Ilia Multi Balm in Cheek to Cheek. It's like this really pretty burnt orange shade, which you guys know I'm obsessed with right now. And then I used the Bobbi Brown lip pencil in Cocoa just to kind of line my lips, and threw on a tiny bit of clear gloss. This one's from Essence. It's the Shine 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 Wet Look Lip Gloss. choked down my own spit. And for mascara, I am super obsessed with this one right now. It's like having its moment with me. I'm using it constantly. It's the Maybelline Falsies Push Up Angel. It has one of those little spoon brushes, and the first time I got this, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like that, but I'm obsessed with it. This is one coat, and it's so good. So, very obsessed with it. Highly recommend it. All right, guys, so this is the finished look of my current no foundation routine. Oh, there's a fuzz in my eye. So I really wanted to do this for you guys because I wanted to show you that you don't need perfect skin to skip out on foundation, and you don't need foundation to achieve a perfect finish. I'm not saying that this is perfect. It doesn't look airbrushed or flawless or anything like that. Oh my gosh, there's like a fuzz on my nose. But we did even out the complexion, and it's a really nice low maintenance way to get your skin looking good for day to day. And it's also just, oh my gosh, my nose is so itchy. It's just a lot less maintenance than wearing foundation every single day. One big tip I can give you guys is make sure you bring your concealer around with you just so you can do touch-ups throughout the day. And then also, if you are a little bit more prone to having oily skin, I would suggest either using a oil controlling setting spray like Urban Decay De-Slick or the NYX mattifying setting spray, just because if you typically are wearing a foundation that mattifies the skin and really controls your oil, you may find that oil can creep up on you a little bit differently throughout the day. So set with something a little bit more mattifying for those of you who are more on the oily side, and maybe bring a little bit of powder with you or some oil blotting sheets around. That'll just kind of help you keep everything under control while also still not having to rely on foundation on the daily. So if you guys have any questions regarding products or techniques, if I can help you in any way so that you can skip out on wearing foundation, hit me up in the comments down below. I'll always do my best to get back to every single one of you. And other than that, products will be listed and linked in the description box for you guys. And come follow me on Instagram, because you guys will find me on Instagram when I'm not here on my channel. And subscribe if you didn't earlier, so you can stay updated whenever I upload new videos. Other than that, guys, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye, guys.